I don't like the Green Party. The black intellectual leadership is leaving a heritage that's divorced from any kind of meaning. And what's interesting about it, though, is that it's always and forever, despite their grand denials, white people who speak for them. David Bowie said in Last Temptation of Christ, "We don't want to be changed." And that's how they answer any call for reform of their ghetto madness. They refuse to acknowledge that that's what it is. Reform is anathema to them. And they say, get around it by saying, you can't speak to us because you're white. You shouldn't even read us. And then they whine about every refusal to cater to their intellectual snobbery. There's a lot that I like about African American heritage, but I've been shut down, plain and simple. And once again, it's a white man. And it's not just any white man. It's a white man who is a Zionist military berserker, pretending that he is Abdul the Palestinian terrorists who speak for the black folk of Pittsburgh. Adam Eisenstadt said, whose grievance, mine or yours? Whose pleasure, mine or yours? It's a relativity thing. The Green Party speaks for the KKK of the East End in saying that it's all a food fight. It's dialectical gimmies. And that's supposed to be Negro heritage. That's supposed to be black psychology. That's supposed to be cater to equity. That's supposed to be the reparations of licky chops. And they run pimp war games during extermination programs for Colin Powell and Joe Biden. They say, well, we got to put up the totem for the Spike Lee picture in Sal Minio's pizza shop. They got Barack Obama on the wall of George Bush White House. Neat, man. What are the things I love about African American heritage? It doesn't pay to mention Martin Luther King these days. The 20s was a time of beautiful jazz, the roaring 20s, and the loudest roar came from a mouse named Gandhi. The Wall Street crash brought it all down, but for one brief and shining moment of Camelot, America was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Gandhi ruled the intellectual airwaves of the Nation magazine, jazz. Duke Ellington ruled the floors of the dance hall. And if you go back just a little bit further, you come to the era of at least one of the greatest writers of the 20th century, which was Richard Wright. A brilliant man who could follow the muse through the convolutions of self-destruction and the outcome of hate. There's a better word than outcome, but maybe I'll think of it by and by. The way that America mothers hate in the black man. And he discovered ways to take its cruelty and turn it to the miracle of self-expression. He became a brilliant writer. And of course, I love Zora Neale Hurston. I can't help but borrow her phrases. It's not impossible to put on a show. I saw a brilliant linguist in Philadelphia who said that they did an imitation of a white man imitating a black man to show the tomfoolery of people's co-optation of cultural narratives and the way they make fools of themselves trying to mimic somebody to make a fool of them. It was brilliant. I mean, it's that complicated. It's complex. These kinds of things are ingrained in American mischief. I mean, there's a certain sort of royal mischief to black society that can be very edifying. And when seeing this guy run circles around white presumptions was gorgeous. I didn't know how to thank him for opening up to me and sharing, but anyway, aside from me, I have less remarkable memories of Philadelphia black culture, but I saw a black man in a truck stop who was Muslim kissing the cement. I mean, that was remarkable. It was deeply stirring um, affirmation of faith. Well, when you look at the whole problem of American black culture, you can go back even a little bit further to the end of the Civil War in the 1880s, when Eleanor Roosevelt, the great human rights leader of the White House, was born, and France gave us the Statue of Liberty as a statement of emancipation. Frederick Douglass breathed his last. You had a vanguard of black and white fellow men walking towards a dignified Commonwealth. And that's what led to the era of the Roaring Twenties. But most of my research, they give me so many problems about my research, and it's not even directed at black people. The hero of my research is Paul Robeson, a black man, but they don't want to hear it. They have a white, and he's going to be a stereotype no matter what. But anyway, the research I do shows that to foil the emancipation of our Commonwealth, because that's what we're talking about, the emancipation of our Commonwealth. To foil the emancipation of our Commonwealth, counterfeiters created through Hollywood the era of the great dictators. Counterfeiters created through Hollywood the era of the great dictators. The hero of the story is Paul Robeson. And I can't disentangle that from the web of Pittsburgh spinner beanies in their Zionist brilliance, making a cat call, flash mob of anything that the Penis Gabriel's white secretary can dig up on Queerball. And they've struck out so many times, and they poisoned me while they were striking out because they can't bear the thought that the white, and these are white people who've created this subculture of tall tales about the deaf kid who could have saved John Lennon. That he's going to be the muse of the satire of the Emerald City of Toon. Donald Toon, know what I mean?